There's a forbidden game that's over 1,500 years old. This game can connect you to the spirit world. You can summon and then communicate with spirits from another world. You can ask them many questions, whether just for fun or to test your courage. However, it's forbidden for a reason. There are psychological consequences if it's not properly concealed. You never know what kind of creature might arrive, and it might not want to return to its original state. This game is similar to Ouija from America, Kokkuri-san from Japan, Devil's Face from Spain, and also Bloody Mary from England. They all share the same principle, using an object and reciting a spell to communicate with spirits. However, this Indonesian game doesn't require a board, coins, cards, or mirrors. It simply requires a doll-like object made from a coconut shell, a wooden stick, or bamboo, and a worn shroud. In its hands are writing instruments like chalk or a pencil, and a piece of paper. Why? Because once connected, the doll will answer your questions using these tools. But there's a summoning spell you have to recite repeatedly with your friend. Yes, you can't do it alone. You'll need at least 2 people to hold the doll very tightly. It can move erratically and will feel very heavy. Sounds exciting and fun? Try it if you dare. So what spell must be recited in this game? What's the name of this forbidden game? The game is called Jelangkung. It's often played by teenagers at night. The requirements for participation are quite stringent. You must possess a strong curiosity that overcomes your fear. Because when the spirit enters the doll, you must not stop and follow it to the end. And even more terrifying, you must know how to return the spirit to its original state. Otherwise, it can stay and terrorize anyone. Youth are known for their intense curiosity and tendency to engage in dangerous activities without first considering the potential consequences. There's a story circulating about a group of students who played the Jelangkung game, but it ended tragically. This story is based on a popular urban legend that took place in Bantul, Yogyakarta, in the late 1980s. That night, 3 teenage boys decided to play Jelangkung in an old, neglected, and haunted house. It wasn't because they believed in it, but rather because they wanted to prove that Jelangkung was just a myth. They thought it was just a way to fill the weekend. They laughed as they prepared the Jelangkung doll, chanting spell and joking around. There was no respect, just curiosity, masked by false bravado. At first, nothing happened. They became increasingly convinced that the game was merely a psychological suggestion. As they continued joking and laughing, one of them accidentally dropped the doll. As it tried to pick it up, it suddenly stood upright. Everyone fell silent. The atmosphere suddenly became still. A very cold air appeared that pierced to the bone. Then the doll's hand began to scribble on the paper with unnatural strength. One of them dared to touch the doll's arm out of curiosity. How surprised he was, because he felt like there was a very strong pulse, even though it was made of ordinary dry wood. They all felt silent, feeling an overwhelming sense of dread. They stood up, trying to leave. Suddenly, the candle in the center of the room went out, even though there was no wind, because the doors and windows were all tightly shut. In the utter darkness, they heard the sound of wood scraping across the floor, followed by the sound of a woman's sobs, very soft but close to their ears. They tried to turn on the flashlight they had brought and looked around. The doll was no longer on the floor. They wondered where it had gone. When they shone the flashlight into the corner of the room, they saw the doll floating, its glowing red eyes staring directly at them. They panicked, trying to escape from the room. However, it was difficult to see in the darkness due to their overwhelming fear. When they found the door, they tried to get out, but they couldn't open it. It seemed locked, either from the inside or the outside. They could only scream, hoping someone would hear them. No one knows for sure what happened that night. What is clear is that they were found the next day by local residents, severely traumatized and unable to speak clearly for several days. They even had frequent dreams of a faceless woman asking to be taken home. They never properly closed the ritual.
Jelangkung Jelangsat. Di sini ada pesta kecil-kecilan. Jelangkung Jelangsat. Datang tak dijemput, pulang tak diantar.
It is a summoning spell that must be repeated over and over again in the Jelangkung game. However, it's not just a spell, it's also a contract. The phrase, "come uninvited, leave unaccompanied," describes the nature of spirits who are not bound by the rules of the human world. It's hoped that with this spell, we can easily summon beings from the other world and allow them to return to their original state without any problems. However, the opposite often happens. The spirits who come don't want to leave and instead settle in the dolls. Why does this happen? Because we never know what kind of spirit will come at that time. We don't know who we're inviting. In fact, it's possible that more than one will come. It's like opening a door without knowing who's behind it. Jelangkung is not just a puppet show. Jelangkung is an invitation, and an invitation is a responsibility. And like all invitations, it can be accepted by anything to pass by. The question is not, will anyone come, but who will come, and are you ready to face it? When you summon something, you take responsibility for whatever may come. According to myth, not all spirits are the same. Some are simply passing by, some are lost, and still others are seeking a way to return to the human world. The problem is, Jelangkung cannot choose. It simply opens the door, and anything can enter. Our ancestors forbade this ritual, not out of fear, but rather because they understood. They knew that humans, in their curiosity, are often unprepared for the answers to the questions they themselves pose. Sometimes, the desire to know the future can be a curse that destroys the present. There are things in this world whose existence is not meant to be understood, but rather to be respected. Today, the Jelangkung game hasn't completely disappeared, but its function has shifted from a spiritual ritual to digital entertainment. Its presence can be seen on various social media platforms, where it has become a commodity for entertainment and cultural consumption. Jelangkung has even been featured in several horror films, successfully capturing the attention of today's youth. So are you planning to perform the Jelangkung ritual? Have you memorized the spell? remember, make sure you say goodbye